Can you beat Ratchet Clank 3 with only a suck cannon? The suck cannon is a gun that basically vacuums up small enemies, and some big ones apparently, and lets you shoot them as projectiles. The rules of this challenge are simple. The only way Ratchet can damage enemies is with the suck cannon. Ratchet cannot use other guns or the wrench to damage enemies. That's basically it. This isn't necessarily a rule, but I'm going to make an effort to not do glitches unless I need to. This will come up later. I want to explain this now so I don't have to later. When you stop sucking up enemies for ammo, you usually are locked into a shooting mode where you can't get more ammo until you hit 0 ammo. This is very inconvenient, but you can bypass this by equipping the suck cannon by holding circle instead of tapping it. This is very useful throughout the challenge. Let's get started. The first level is Velden. The way I get the suck cannon is through hacking it into the game. This is the only way I can beat the challenge. If I tried to run through the game without hitting anything, I would just get stuck at the Quarkfire in Florana. By that point, I'm not able to get the suck cannon yet, so we'll have to compromise with hacking the suck cannon in. After we land on Velden, we talk to the rangers and they give us the shot cannon for free. This would be useful, but I can't use anything but the suck cannon, so I immediately switch to the suck cannon and shoot this enemy in the face. Then 10 seconds later, they give me another gun, the nitro launcher. I also can't use this. In the game normally, you're supposed to use the nitro launcher to kill this alien, but you can just use any gun, so I use the suck cannon to kill him. The rest of this level is just the same. One thing I should mention is that with the suck cannon, you're not limited to sucking up only enemies, you can actually suck up bolt crates for ammo too. This is insanely useful, and it took doing this challenge for me to realize that this game has so many crates. They're everywhere. I kind of always ignored them when I played these games unless I really needed bolts. One crate is 1 ammo, so you actually get a lot of ammo for this challenge. In a lot of places, this is really overpowered honestly. We go into a fight where I level up the suck cannon to level 2 for killing another alien, then we're done with the level. The next level is Florana. One thing to note here is that for some reason the ammo bar that was previously on the right side of the screen is gone, so we'll just have to guess how much ammo we have now. Here, you can actually skip a majority of the level very easily, but again, I don't want to use glitches, and I also think that's worth going through the level for the extra XP. It's interesting, because on this planet, it's the first time you see an ammo vendor. In a usual playthrough, I go to a vendor all the time, but in this run, there's no reason for me to. You can't buy suck cannon ammo. Which brings up an issue of this run. You can't buy ammo. If you did a whip-only challenge, for example, it'll be a pretty simple challenge because if you run out of ammo, you can just use the PDA to buy ammo. In this run, if you can't get ammo, then you're not beating the game. It also doesn't help that the ammo caps out at a certain point. You can't just stock up on ammo forever. Your ammo also resets every level, so you can't bring ammo between levels. This creates a unique challenge that other Ratchet challenge runs don't have. Playing through this challenge, the main emotion I felt was anxiety. Every planet I was worried about something. Will there be enough crates? Does this boss have too much health for me to kill? At many points, I was genuinely convinced I wouldn't be able to complete this challenge. Despite all that, I went through Florana, which is pretty easy. I went to the Path of Death and fought Quark. I expected this fight to be hard, but it really wasn't. I even beat him on the first try. You can pretty much just get infinite ammo in this fight, because you can just keep sucking at the ammo crates. Once you run out of crates, you can just get more. This fight is piss easy. Next, we head to the Starship Phoenix, the game's hub basically. I love this level, but what I don't love is the VR training rooms. I tried to go there to get some extra experience. I did level up the suck cannon to its 3rd level while I played it though. I also tried to beat every VR training mission that I could with the suck cannon. Some missions require to use other guns, so I didn't even try those. After that, I continued on the ship. The Starship Phoenix gave me currents from Arcadia, the next planet. Arcadia is a funny one. You have bulk cranks here, but you don't need to use them. You can use a speedrun trick called a boxy to skip all the ranger missions. If you are a suck cannon challenge purist and hate using the wrench to turn bolt cranks, then this is your route to play. However, I'm going to have fun and play through the game normally. But just know it is possible, in case you think I'm cheating by using a bolt crank. You make your way through Arcadia's first section until you get to a hover ship, and then are sent to the ranger missions. There's a massive stack of crates in every challenge, so ammo is simply not an issue here. The 3rd ranger mission is Turret Command, and here you use a turret, which does not let you use the suck cannon. I wouldn't call this a run failure, and even if you did, you can still use the boxy to skip all these ranger missions anyway. I'm basically doing this even though I don't need to. The 4th mission is Under the Gun, which is just waiting for 2 minutes, during which I upgraded my suck cannon to its 4th level, and the final mission is the bolt crank one. At the end of this mission, you can jump in the mud to kill Ratchet as the cutscene starts. This will give you a glitch called Ghost Ratchet. This lets you walk through walls and lets you skip having to use the refractor. I did not use this glitch in my playthrough because I didn't want to do glitches. I got the refractor and finished the laser defense facility without any issue. Finishing the laser defense facility gives you the first video comic, which, by the way, I'm just not going to talk about in this video. They're weird and I don't like them. I think they break the pace of the game, and most people dislike them too. They're really simple anyway. If you're a purist about it, then it's not like you can beat vid comics without using fists or guns anyway. You gotta damage stuff. In the vid comics, you don't have a suck cannon. I don't really consider these vid comics a part of the challenge. The rules are about Ratchet killing enemies anyway. Quark is the one who kills stuff. After the vid comic, we go to Annihilation Nation. First, we clear the starting challenge of Annihilation Nation. This mission has a lot of small enemies and crates, so it's a breeze. The second mission is where disaster struck. To keep it simple, I thought my playthrough was over on this level. The start has no small enemies that you can suck up, so I have no way to get ammo. To solve this though, I just went to the previous mission and sucked up a bunch of enemies. Then I ended the mission in the pause menu and went to challenge again. You have to keep track of your ammo throughout this, but otherwise it's pretty simple. After beating the challenge, I'm rewarded with the tier guys. I then go to do more Annihilation Nation challenges to try to get my suck hand to its 5th and final level. After doing this, I go to the Starship Phoenix, which gives me coordinates to Aquatos. I then also finish the second vid comic before going to Aquatos. Aquatos is probably my favorite planet in this run. I just had a lot of fun on this planet. The vibes were chill. I like swim sections, not so much Clank ones, or the tier guys ones, but I still love Aquatos. This level is where I really started to implement a strategy where I just move past every enemy. I have my suck can maxed out, and health isn't really an issue for me, so I just don't need to kill anything. You can ignore most enemies and carefully run through their attacks. You'll be fine if you do this for most of the game. If there's a required enemy, you can just kill them, and because you ignore so many enemies, you'll probably have a high health bar and ammo count. I did ignore a lot of enemies, but I didn't ignore small enemies and crates, because ammo is very important in this run. The rest of the level was simple. I just played through it normally. The Clank and Tier Guys section were just as normal. You don't need a gun for those, so I just played them like normal. I then head back to the Starship Phoenix and go to Tyrannosis. This level was also really fun. I always liked this planet as a kid. It's one of my favorite along with Aquatos. After a freefall section, you land on Tyrannosis and have a bunch of enemies to run through. You have to kill some small orbs, and after that, the room blows up and you get to the second part of the level. I'd say this level is 3 parts. The first is the one I just mentioned, the second is the one I just entered, and the third is the big Tyrannoid boss fight. In the second section, you have to break some more orbs, which is pretty straightforward. You just run into them with a car, or shoot them with a suck cannon. After I broke all the orbs, I realized what was ahead of me. I had to fight the big Tyrannoid boss fight. I wasn't very sure I would finish the level. Remember, if I'm out of the ammo, the challenge is over for me if I can't find any more ammo. I stocked up on ammo and headed over to the fight. I was able to get through the first part of the fight very quickly, then the Tyrannoid starts chasing you. During this, there's a bunch of small enemies on the floor that I sucked up to get ammo. This would be super useful because I then could just kill the Tyrannoid super easily. This level ended up being very easy for me. I did it all in one go without deaths, even with that boss fight that I thought would be hard. I just barely had enough ammo for it though. It made me wonder if in the future I'd be so lucky to have just enough ammo for the whole game. At the Starship Phoenix, we go through the VR training for the Hypershot and the Hacker. This area doesn't require fighting or guns, so I just played through it as normal and headed to the next planet. I was very worried about the planet Dax. There's a fight with a ship you have to do, and I had no idea if I had enough ammo for this. Upon landing, I went to the route to get to the charge routes. Doing this, I realized that third person for this challenge wasn't going to cut it. Some enemies are just too hard to hit with only third person. Lock Strafe lets you move the camera around more freely, and is probably my preferred control option for the game. We then get the charge boots, which are comically large for some reason. They're not that big when they're on Ratchet's feet, I'm serious. They're bigger than Ratchet's head even. Next, I go through the path to get to the warship fight. The entire time, I'm just so nervous, wondering if I'm going to be able to get through the challenge. I just barely scraped by on 2 other areas. I wasn't sure if I would have the same luck. On my first attempt, I ran out of ammo, and I got very worried. Just didn't seem like I had the ammo for it. I stocked up my ammo to the absolute max I could. What I would do was just suck up these crates, then kill Ratchet, and do the same until I reached max ammo. I could tell when I reached max ammo because I wouldn't be able to suck up the crates anymore. With maximum ammo, I was just barely able to beat the warship. I felt like I had won the lottery. I just barely had enough ammo for this fight. I then went to the next and last path of Dax. Here, you have to kill a bunch of enemies. This is also where I realized how good the suck cannon really is. I always assumed it was just a kind of mediocre weapon, but here, you can just kill everything super easily. I also didn't know this when going through the level, but you can suck up more enemies than you would think usually. You can actually suck up the rangers, but I wouldn't find out on Dax. I just shot them, which didn't make much of a difference anyway, since the level had a ton of ammo. I finished the hacker sections and got the coordinates to Obani Gemini. On Obani Gemini, we used the refractor on some floating things, for some reason that I don't remember. Again, if you're a purist, you don't actually need to do this. You can use a speedrun trick to skip this section. Once we use the refractor on floating things, we get to the cool part of this level. It's not very hard, but it's cool and I like it. This whole level is just really easy. After talking to Skim McMarks, we get coordinates to Blackwater City. I'm just not going to bore you here. It's a fun level, but it goes by really easily. You have a ton of ammo at your disposal. It's barely worth talking about. Once you finish it, you get the Magna Boots. We then head back to Annihilation Nation. We then do another challenge on Annihilation Nation and fight Scorpio. Scorpio is easy. You just kill him with a suck cannon. No shenanigans here. On Hollow Star, we play as Clank, and I try one of my favorite glitches in Ratchet 3. If you go into this menu, Clank just loses his tuxedo. Look at him, he's not so secret agent anymore. After a fight with some big, weird bug guy, we get to play as Ratchet, where the fun actually begins. This level is packed with enemies, and even then, the suck cannon, a gun you get at the start of the game, just shreds through all of these enemies. The suck cannon really just makes quick work of a lot of these enemies. I don't think I even die at all here. At some point, I got this really weird glitch where your game's screen freaks out. I don't know why it happens, but I know people in the Ratchet Clank community know why. I'm just too lazy to figure out why. Unfortunately, this level suffers from a sickness known as having hacker puzzles. I hate hacker puzzles. Obani Draco was the scariest level in this challenge run. I felt so much doom here. I was convinced that the run was over here, and even if I thought I could get past Courtney here, I was sure the next levels would give me issues. At the start of Obani Draco, you walk through a really boring level to find Courtney Gears. You then have to kill her. You would assume that my issue with this fight is that I keep running out of health, but my issue was that I kept running out of ammo. If I had infinite ammo, this level would be a breeze, but I kept running out of ammo and Courtney was close to dying. Even though I would stock up on ammo before every attempt, I wasn't sure if it was possible. At the start of the fight, I only shoot Courtney 3 times, because any other shots don't hurt her, and are just wasting ammo until the next phase of the fight. After many tries and a death after making her health bar reach 0, I was able to finish the fight without dying or running out of ammo. I felt so relieved, but I was sure the challenge was over by now. There's no way the next fight would be easier than this. The next fight was easier than this, but I'm not going to explain it until we go to Metropolis. But this is only because that's the plan that has that fight. I should also mention that I used a feature of the game called Act Tuning, where if you die a bunch of times, the game just makes the boss easier to beat. It really is as simple as dying a lot of times. This then makes the boss have lower health, making some bosses way easier. After Obani Draco, I go to Zeldin Starport. Zeldin Starport is easy. You have to run past a bunch of enemies and then shoot like 1 or 2 times, and then run to the end of the level. It's easy. We head back to Starship Phoenix for Big Comic 3 and 4. After that, we head to Metropolis. Okay, on Metropolis I did do a glitch. If you do a speedrun trick to get past a cutscene trigger, Nefarious isn't able to turn the enemies into robots until the final level. I do this to just make the run easier. If they are robots, then they'll have more health. I just didn't want to deal with that. After some puzzles, we fight Clunk. Clunk was a weird fight. I came in with fully stocked ammo, but I didn't kill Clunk, even with Act Tuning. This wouldn't be an issue because I could just use the extra crates that respawn infinitely. The issue, however, was that I could not use the extra crates. When I went over onto the second train, I couldn't shoot the crates I picked up. I picked them up, but it just wouldn't let me shoot them. Dying wouldn't fix it, and I couldn't get past this issue. The only way I could fix it was reloading my save. It kept happening, so eventually my strategy was to just only stay on the first train. It worked fine, but it just took a while because I only used 1 crate and let it respawn every shot after my stocked up ammo ran out. It took a bit also, because to hit Clank from far away, I had to aim very well. That, or walk closer to him to get a better shot. This fight was definitely easier than the Courtney fight, but it was much more confusing. I had no idea that this glitch would happen where the suck can just stops working. During the fight, I decided to get armor. The entire run, I haven't been using armor really. I was saving up for the Aegis Mark V. Is that how you say it? I don't really know. Armor set. It's a very good armor set, and I'm glad I got it. I didn't really need the armor for the Clunk fight, but I just got it for the rest of the game. After Metropolis, we got coordinates for Crash Site and head over there. Crash Site is simple. I just ran past all the enemies. I did die a few times, but it wasn't too bad of a level. I don't know if it would have been a good idea to try to fight these enemies. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. I got the coordinates for Iridia and head over to... not Iridia. My speedrunner brain made me want to go to Quark's hideout and just skip Iridia. But I am a speedrunner, and I haven't properly played through Iridia in a long time, so I decided to head over there to see if I could just beat the level. It is required outside of speedruns anyway. It's just that speedruns use tricks to skip Iridia. On Iridia, the first mission is easy. Just charge beat to the end. You don't even have to kill anything. The second mission is really boring. It's just a hover-shaped mission. The third mission, you have to kill these green enemies, marked green on your map. I did actually struggle with this level a bit because I had to be a little smart with ammo until I realized there's so much ammo, and you only have to kill a few enemies. It was an easy mission. The next mission you have to turn some bolt cranks. To turn them, you have to shoot these turrets, or they will shoot you when you try to turn the bolt crank. Again, I had to manage my ammo, but I was able to get through the mission. The final mission was fun. You get to overtake their base and kill some enemies. Overall, I struggled a little bit on Iridia, but I got through it without too much trouble. I thought that Quark's hideout would be really hard, but it's not. You just run past all the enemies. I realized I could just avoid everything and run to the end. I tried to kill enemies, but it's literally just not worth it. I don't think you have the ammo to kill everything here anyway. You have a really boring Clank section, and they're down at the planet. I would get the PDA here, but there's no point in me doing so because I can't buy ammo for the suck cannon. Starship Phoenix gets invaded by Nefarious' troops, and this level was actually a little hard, but I got through. At some point, you can just charge past everything though. Charging past a bunch of enemies is sort of a common thing in this challenge. We next have Chorus, which is easy. You just run through everything. Here, I accidentally run into an Infernox trait, which has a side effect of making Ratchet temporarily invincible. I realized this is actually a little genius because it lets me run past the enemies way easier. Now, we have the final level, Command Center. This level is a gauntlet of enemies, and I'm taking the easy way out. There's speedrun tricks you can use here, but I'm not going to do those. I'm going to be going through here with only a suck cannon. As a kid, I remember this level being insanely hard for me. It's also even harder because the speedrun trick I did to make Nefarious not turn enemies into robots is cancelled out here. In the Command Center, Nefarious' enemies turn into robots, so I can't get away with killing enemies in a few shots anymore. It takes me a lot of shots to kill one enemy. To be honest, I had no idea if I could get through this level, but it was honestly not as hard as I thought. You can get cover pretty easily, and there's a lot of crates you can get ammo from here. It's actually pretty nice. Finally, we have the Nefarious boss fight, and we have no ammo. I thought, oh, I just ran out of ammo. So I just went back to the previous area, got some ammo, and head back. Only to have no ammo. The thing is that Nefarious' fight and Command Center are different things in the game's files. They're different levels. You have a ship load screen to get to Nefarious fight. It only makes sense that you have no ammo. But that's an issue. There's no crates here. There's no way for me to get ammo. I tried everything here, doing weird ways to clip through walls that usually work, but they didn't. There were crates outside, if only I had a way to get to them. At this point, I assumed the challenge was over, and I had to give a disappointing end to a challenge that had a lot of ups and downs. But all you really need to do is some glitches. If you want to have a glitchless run, then this is basically the route you would do. You would just end the run at Nefarious. That is, if you ignore the Metropolis glitch I did. But I want to complete the game, so I will complete it. Using the tier guys that we got on our first visit to the Annihilation Nation, we can do either a tier guy's infinite jump to go around the structure you land in, or do a tier flip over the barrier here. Either option is pretty annoying, and I'm really bad at tier guys tech, but the route I did was as follows. Act 2 Nefarious by dying a bunch of times to make the fight easier. Get onto the second island that's locked off to you, stock up on ammo until full, then die and restart the fight. You'll keep your stocked up ammo. Empty all your ammo into Nefarious, then, when you're out, get onto the second island again, and grab all the crates you previously sucked up. Then go back to Nefarious and shoot him with the rest of your ammo. This is very tedious, and is probably the worst part of this challenge. After doing that, you get into the second of 3 phases in the fight. Yeah, this fight sucks. After doing that, I get to the next platform, making sure Nefarious follows me. Then, I set up a glitch to make the Rangers shoot at Nefarious, dealing crazy damage. I also use the suck hand to suck up these red big guys. I'm very surprised how you can suck these enemies up, by the way. It makes no sense. They're insanely huge. Like, how's that work? This has to be like a major oversight of the suck cannon. Anyway, we have to do this glitch with the Rangers, because if I just fought Nefarious normally, I would run out of ammo and have no way to finish the fight. Either way, after the Rangers kill Nefarious, I go into the hover ship and kill Nefarious and his mech, ending the challenge successfully. I didn't need to break the rules for this challenge. The official score for the amount of necessary glitches for this run is basically 2, and they're both on the same level. It's weird how that works. Thanks for watching. This is actually really fun to do. If you have any other ideas like this, then let me know. But I'm probably not going to do another challenge and up your arsenal for a bit. I might do Ratchet 2 or 1 or Deadlocked. just don't make me play Ratchet 3 again. This challenge run was fun, but I'm not very eager to spend 6 hours playing Up Your Arsenal again. I'd also like to note that if I sounded like really depressed in this recording, I'm just bad at talking. And this is also the first time I've ever done like a long voiceover. Like the longest I've ever done a voiceover previously was like 2 minutes. So, cut me some slack.